In three, two, one, and go.
Welcome back to the Dadnarok podcast. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
Hey, we are back here once again. We are recording a day after the Super Bowl. Happy post Super Bowl weekend.
You mean Super Boo? I mean, that
Yeah.
thing stunk up everything.
It was very not super, not fun.
Yeah, but I think we'll address that later. You know,
Yeah,
when
we'll
we're
talk
looking
about
for
that
our
later.
downer portion of the show, that's when we'll address that.
Yeah. What else has been going on with you?
I mean, Zach, my son, he turned 8 on the 1st.
Boy.
Can you believe 8?
I cannot.
No, okay, so he had his well check today. He is 54 inches tall and 82 pounds.
Wow.
He is built like a brick crap house.
He is.
Because they said there was like no body fat on him either.
And he still like leaps on top of you too. He leaps into the air and lands on you with all 80 pounds of him.
I mean, I gotta brace myself because he will take me down easily.
Yeah.
Hits me wrong, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. You're gonna hurt daddy. But for his birthday party, so he wasn't affected last year. Last year he had his birthday party at Sky Zone. It was in February. It was a week or two, if not 3, before this whole shutdown happened.
Right.
So he was able to experience it, have a good old time. But this time around, we were like, okay, what do we do? So I think we were discussing this prior to recording. There's a fatigue happening. It's like we want to do something. We're itching at the bit. With me Doordashing, I'm out. I see people in the restaurants, but I want to go so bad.
Oh yeah.
But there's a part of me is like, you know what? I can't go. Because what I've been saying is like, you know what, be cautious.
Well, yeah, you guys have done so well so far. You've already have, close brushes, and Skylar even had it for a bit, and somehow you guys lucked out with not getting it. So it's like, why chance it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing my darndest not to. And I don't like takeout from a lot of these restaurants because it's not as good because it's not meant to be takeout.
Oh my God, dude. I know you're a DoorDasher and stuff, but I'm so tired of eating like room temperature food when I get home. I open up the styrofoam and here, it's good and stuff, but like, God, I miss a waitress just putting down a hot plate of food in front of me.
And actually, I've gotten to the point now, if my deliveries are within a certain radius, I won't use my hot bag. And the reason being is I'll put it in there, and I notice when I open it up, my bag is sweating.
Oh,
because all the heat's in there.
Moisture, yep.
So I'm like, I would rather my food be a little bit cooler than soaking wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I pretty much stopped doing it. I mean, I haven't had anyone complain about it, but it's like, I'd rather, that's me trying to be courteous to them. And I don't know if they see it the same way, but it is whatever. But Zach, we decided to have Zach a party of some sort. We were like, what do we do? We run out of movie theater where we can put 20 people in and just have some friends over. So we went through like the movies that were in there, and nothing was really appropriate or anything that he would like or his friends would like, or the parents that he would have, would maybe agree with the type of movie.
Right.
But we decided not to do that. Then we thought, okay, there's our swim school for like about the same price, $100, $150. We can get the pool for a private party for an hour.
Oh yeah.
We were like, they were only allowing 10 in. So Janessa, me, and Skylar and Zach, that's 4 boom right there.
Yeah.
And then one friend with their parent, they're 6. So 10 adds up real fast.
Sure does.
We were like, okay, that's not going to work. I don't know how we're going to do that. So we're not going to bother with that. And we actually kind of narrowed it down to bringing 2 of his friends that he sees every Monday night in his Twitter class. He sees every Monday night in his ninja class, and actually had a sleepover, which is Zach's first that he hosted.
Oh boy, that's a big deal.
Oh boy, it was a big deal.
Oh boy is right, huh?
Oh boy is right. Well, we did one of the things. We had 2 boys come over to sleep over, and we had 2 of his friends that he's in school with that he plays with on a daily basis here in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we had 4 kids over. And 2 of them stayed until about 6:30, 7. Then I walked them home. And then the other ones stayed the night, obviously. But we did a pizza bar. So Janessa's gotten really good at making like pizza dough. So instead of ordering anything, we went ahead and they came in the kitchen. They were like, okay, I like pepperoni, cheese, sausage, or whatever the fixings were.
Right.
and she would make the pizzas. So she made them. Now it occupied her for a while. Now the two parents stuck around for a little while with the boys that were staying.
Yeah.
So she didn't interact with them a whole lot because our kitchen is an open concept, like everyone likes nowadays.
Right.
But we did that, and that was great. And I mean, all in all, the boys were great.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I knew was a lot more low key, and I expect him to be low key, and he was.
Yeah, I was that kid growing up.
And then the other kid, I don't know how much sugar he normally gets.
Oh dear.
Because we had the cake, which Janessa made a turtle cake.
Oh, so he was even extra sugary.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we had like 2 movie style like candies for each kid.
Oh,
so he had a box of M&Ms. So now he popped all of those. And then I also did the popcorn from the movie theater so they can have that as well. So I went full fledged. We're going to do this. We're going to have all that. They picked a movie. They watched a movie. I don't remember the movie they watched, but it got over about 10:30. I'm like, okay, let's put another one on, and we're in cool down mood. I want everyone's volume to come down.
Right.
Because Janessa and I were in the other room. We were watching Doctor Strange.
Okay.
At this time. So we were watching that for the first time, which it irritates me that it took that long for me to watch because he's my kind of dude.
Yeah.
But it was to the point where one of the boys was like, really low key, was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to sleep. Zach was already basically asleep.
Right.
Other kid was bouncing. I'm like, okay, bud.
Oh no.
Okay, bud. Everyone else is calming down. We need to go to sleep now. And he broke out the line, I have issues sleeping.
Pardon?
I was like, okay, well, you can lay here and just be quiet. Eventually you go to sleep. But we got to keep it down. Zach and his buddy are ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. Okay. But eventually he calmed down. Like I said, I don't want it to sound like he wasn't good.
Yeah.
I just don't know that.
How much longer did it take for him to fall asleep?
It was about 12:30 when everyone was out. And that wasn't too much longer than after Janessa and I were like, we laid in bed. We were on our phones a little bit.
Yeah.
The movie was over a little later. So it wasn't hateful.
That's not too bad. Yeah. It could have been worse. He could have been up bouncing till like 2 or 3.
Yeah. So it was all in all, it went really well. It was a new experience. The next morning, just like with right now here in Ohio, we're getting snow.
Mm-hmm.
That same night, snow came in. So we didn't know when the parents were going to be able to pick them up.
Congratulations. You have boys for another couple of days because you're snowed in.
Yeah. So I gave them it's okay. Don't worry. Don't rush. I mean, we told them noon originally. That's kind of like because Janessa we got up, we made breakfast, the whole deal for them. Janessa made pancakes and the work. So
yeah.
But you're like noon. If later, not a big deal. Don't rush. Don't get in an accident on the way here because the roads are bad.
Right.
But one of them was picked up right about 11:30. The other one was pretty much noon, like after church.
Mm-hmm.
And when everyone left, I sat down. I was like, okay, when are we doing this again? Because I don't know if it's going to be for a little while.
I'm waiting. I'm sure Verona will get there too. Once she goes back to school and has school friends, man, it's tough. She's gone to 2 different daycares over this pandemic, and she hasn't been in her actual school for almost a year now. So it's tough. It's and you guys have some local friends like you were saying. There's somebody down the street. We just moved here, so we haven't really had the chance to meet a lot of our neighbors yet and stuff.
Spring or summer when that happens, when you can be outside and you're comfortable. Yeah, that whole deal.
Yeah, so she'll get there eventually. I'm sure it'll be. But a girl's sleepover is a totally different thing, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna experience it as well. I mean, right? You'll be giving me pointers because I mean, me passing boy pointers on you won't make any sense. But
yeah, I'm just gonna be asking my wife to check in on them. I don't want big scary dad to walk through the door. What are you girls doing? I don't want to know.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stay out of this. I know I'm going to Dayton. Christine, that's on you. Peace out.
Yeah, have fun.
I don't see that going over very well.
No.
I know you're way too well. You wouldn't have a house to come home to.
Nope.
You'll get papers mailed to you to my house. Oh man, but yeah, I mean I've been pretty active. I mean, between that, everyone knows I DoorDash.
Yeah,
And you
you
kind of
do.
already brought it up a little bit. And we had a segment, and I think it's a running segment.
Some call you the Doordashing dad.
The Doordashing dad. There we go. I haven't had any good stories in a while. I mean, it's been kind of boring, just blah. Uh, today, today I got a good one today. I actually, if you follow us on our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook, I put a picture up there. And literally, it's a picture of my car holding more pizzas in the passenger seat than I ever thought it could handle.
Your car looked like a 20-year-old's apartment. Just pizza boxes stacked up.
Oh my God. So I got an order. It was close to the end of my day. And it was like Little Caesars. And I was like, okay, I'll roll over there, pick up some Little Caesars. And on my way there, I got another order from Little Caesars. Okay, I pick up 2 orders, no big deal.
Yeah, 2 for.
I go in there and ask him for the order. And I said, okay, this first one's not ready yet. And then he's like, okay, here's this one here. And he opens up the door. And he pulls out like 2 pizzas. I'm like, oh, it's 2 pizzas? And he said, no, it's 20 pizzas.
Yikes.
I'm like, holy God. Then my mind goes, where am I putting 20 pizzas in my car?
Good Lord.
So I take the first bunch out. He's like, you may want to take it some multiple trips. I'm like, that's not bad thought. I'm not to carry 20 out. So I start putting them in my car. Then I got them in my passenger seat. Then I got them in the floorboard in the passenger side. I got them stacked up as high as I can get. Luckily, I didn't have to go to the back seat with them. But I was like, man, I should have paid attention. When I looked at the app again, it said times 20. I'm like, oh,
no
Jesus.
kidding. Times 20. Hopefully they gave you a decent tip.
Well, that was my next thought. I was like, these sons of bitches better tip me.
Right.
And then I'm just driving. I'm like, where am I going? Where am I taking these? It gives me the address.
You're like 40 minutes out.
It was maybe a 15-minute drive at most.
Okay.
So I'm just driving and I'm coming down the street, and all of a sudden on the right on the map, I see a school. I'm like, oh, that's where I'm going.
Pizza party.
I went to a school, so I park. This is where, the timing sucked on this. So I just pulled to the front of the school, threw my 4-ways on. Mm-hmm. I'm not parking in a parking spot. I got all this damn pizza.
Right. Somebody come get this pizza.
Yeah, they're going to understand.
Right.
So I go in. First, I'm greeted by a security guard. Then they let me in. They direct me to the office. And I'm like, okay, I have a ton of pizza. Where is yada yada?
Yeah.
And he comes running out. I was like, oh, that's me here. And he said, then this guy thinks he grabs a cart. And he wheels the cart out to the car. And yeah, I load up the cart. And it took the whole cart. No and kidding. Apparently it was for the kids that they were able to achieve something. So they were all getting, benefiting from like a pizza party, which I remember a pizza party in middle school.
Oh, that was like,
the top of the line thing. It didn't matter what the pizza was.
Yeah.
It was just the pizza party thing was cool.
Yeah. Anytime in school, it's like, there were a few times when it was just like, oh man, this is the best. When like the substitute teacher rolls in that big TV cart, the old tube TV with the VCR or the DVD player. Okay, kids, here we're just, we're watching Last of the Mohicans or something until the end of the period. Like, yes. And the old school pizza party, man. That was another one.
That was awesome. And when I went to go ahead and complete the order, he upped the tip by $8. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, very good.
I thought for sure, like, I didn't understand. I won't say for sure. A lot of people order for Little Caesars and don't realize they're ordering through DoorDash because that's the only way they deliver.
Oh, see, I didn't know that either.
So DoorDash, and say for like rapid fire pizza, they don't deliver either. They deliver through DoorDash.
Okay.
So and there's been times for like Chipotle where we'll get an order and it'll say, I have no idea what the order is because it was requested per the company.
Dude, Christina, my wife, she's actually tried her hand at some DoorDashing here in the last couple of weeks. Followed your lead. She's been texting you and bugging you about advice and how to go about it. But she's actually had to pick up pizzas from Pizza Hut and deliver because they had like a delivery driver. Either they were like backed up real bad or they called out that day. So they relied on DoorDash to help cover it.
I always feel like crap when I'm going to go pick up from an established place that I know has drivers, just like Papa John's. I've done Papa John's, but there's a little one called I don't remember if you remember Cousin Vinny's. It was like a
Mm,
cheaper pizza.
I remember the movie, not the pizza.
But I walked in there, I was picking up an order. I even talked to him and said, dude, I felt like trash taking this order. And it's like, am I taking like tips out of your driver's hands?
Yeah.
And he flat out said no. I said, right now, we normally aren't open at this time because, they're not busy. But because of the pandemic, they opened earlier so they can get the lunch rush too.
Okay.
And they don't have any drivers between the certain hours.
Gotcha.
I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. So I'm not taking money from the guys that are making $3 an hour and rely on
Exactly.
tips.
Right.
But I mean, and it comes down to a lot of places will request them. So if they request it, it is what it is. But it was crazy. It was fun. But yeah, I have no idea where I was.
how to transition out of the pizza
Yeah,
story.
you threw me completely off from when you said Christina was actually doing it. How is she doing, by the way? Is she enjoying it? Is it something that is it? I
Yeah,
know
she
sometimes she
is.
gets anxious about things. Is she taking it well?
Yeah, so far she had one of the first times she went out, she had an issue to where there was a tough time finding the actual address because it was like a big apartment complex,
Oh, yep.
and how to get into it was a little hard to read. So she ended up like carrying the food up like flights of steps to get to this one apartment building, and then kind of left it at the door. And as she was leaving, she realized was leaving it at the wrong door. So she went all the way down, then went all the way back up to hopefully collect this food. And luckily, the people that lived at this wrong apartment didn't pick up the food, so it's still sitting outside their door. She grabs it, goes all the way down, finds the correct apartment building, then goes all the way back up to the correct one, and it was like 4 flights of steps or something. So she had a tough time that first day, for like a $3 tip or something.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah, some of the apartment complexes are rough, but I mean, she'll get to know areas like that are ordering them in that area,
Yeah.
just like I do here. Like I delivered to the same house probably a dozen times. Like
And she was so tempted to go out this weekend during the Super Bowl too, because they had kind of like prime
I did here, I would have told her not to if she was thinking about it,
mhm.
because this kind of leads into a story that we're going to talk about later. But Janessa was picking up our order that we ordered the day before on Saturday for B-dubs.
Okay.
And she went to get it, and there was one guy waiting already, and he left while she was waiting still. Two more guys came in waiting for their food. Holidays are a nightmare, and I personally don't do it. The reason they put the extra money tips on there
Yeah.
with the bonuses is because they know people like me are like, we've experienced it. We're not doing it again.
Right.
I mean, you may make more on your delivery, but you're taking less deliveries
Yeah, fair
and you're
enough.
waiting longer. So they're trying to go ahead and counter that wait with extra, paying you more on their base pay. And it doesn't always equal out because the anxiety, for one, I have high anxiety when I'm waiting in a restaurant for a long period of time.
Right, I do too. Because it's
And
like it's just not a good situation. It's like you're disappointing, like you feel your tip going away, you're disappointing the receiver of the food, and you're like, that's money you could be making elsewhere.
in this case here, time is money.
Yeah.
They always tell you that, but when you're doing DoorDash or any type of delivery, time is absolutely money. So I've avoided. I think Cinco de Mayo, I did, and I'll never run another holiday. They can pay you an extra $20 an hour,
Right.
and I'll be like, you know what? There's a reason they're doing that. If you see through that extra money they're giving you, you'll realize what's going on. And
Yeah.
I've kind of smartened into the game a little bit because I've been doing it since April.
Yeah.
I got well over 1,000 deliveries now. Now to some people that's not much, but I mean I didn't think I was going to hit that mark at all, and that's a lot, really.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Christina also tried her hand at Instacart. I don't know if you've heard this, but essentially it's kind of like DoorDash, but instead of picking up food from restaurants, you go to grocery shopping
Go
for people,
shopping. Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
I hate shopping for myself. I am not doing it for anybody else.
She has not had the greatest luck with that either so far because she ended up, it took her time because, you go to Kroger or something, sometimes it's a madhouse in there, and to try to find things, especially if you're not as familiar with that particular Kroger and you're going through different aisles. Oh, I think it's here. Oh, maybe it's not in this aisle. Like you said, that's a pain in the butt when you have to go for yourself. And then, she ended up spending like an hour and a half just between the time where she, clicked on the order when she was waiting around in a parking lot and accepted it to the time where she was actually, delivering the food. It was like an hour and a half. And I think she only got like $7 or $8 out of it.
Oh no.
So it's like, completely not worth the time. And I don't know. She's trying these things out and seeing which ones are going
I
to
would
wind up
say
being better for her.
stick with DoorDash.
Yeah.
As long she'll get better with it. She'll figure out the game. Pay attention to the mileage
Mm-hmm.
and what the order's paying you and where it takes you.
Yeah.
Because if it takes you out of your area, you can't get another order till you come back in the area.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it keeps you in your area, you can drop it off and you may pick up another order immediately.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that I learned while I was going just because, well, I had absolutely nobody to help me with it. It was just I was learning on the fly.
Yeah.
And you know how sociable I am.
Yeah.
So when there's other DoorDashers there, I'll start talking.
Sure.
And while we're waiting, I'm feeding off of how long they've been doing it.
Yep.
And what knowledge they've picked up and what I can pick up. And I learn like that. So I mean that's just kind of me. Now I know Christina's not like that. She won't just stand next to him talking to him.
Yeah, she's like in and out, man, in and out, on to the next. Like, what do I need to do? Yeah, as much as she can. But she's had fun so far.
Yeah, tell her to stick with it. It's nice. It's good. You'll learn which restaurants are slow, which ones you want to avoid.
Yeah.
Just for that reason, which ones pay well, where to stage yourself.
Lord, now I'll be getting DoorDashing stories from her at home and from you on the podcast, man. I'll just be berated with DoorDashing stories.
Right, yeah, but that 20 pizzas, dude, I'm never going to forget 20 pizzas at $5 a pop. So you paid $100 for pizza.
Yep.
Like, you know what? Yeah, he said, I can't beat that. So I was like, you can't. No. I even told him, said, man, I took a picture of this in my car. I'm gonna have to share this. Oh, but that was actually really fun. But has there been any news movie wise or anything lately?
Well, I kind of, blink and you miss it. This is not something that's really been on my radar, and sometimes it is. Award season is starting up. We're in a brand new year. It all leads up to the Oscars, late February into March, typically is a time frame when the Oscars show up. But, 2020 was not a year memorable for the amount of movies that came out, honestly. A lot of stuff was put on hiatus. A lot of stuff was delayed. But we're still having an award season somehow, the Golden Globes leading up to the Oscars. And just this past week, they actually announced a bunch of the nominees for the Golden Globe Awards.
Yeah, and looking through some of them here, some of them actually have direct correlation to what we've talked about.
Oh, yeah.
I figure, let's just talk about a few of them here, see what jumps out of us. But just looking at it first, without even talking about who's been nominated, to me, it's very telling. Even with the movies, it's Apple TV, it's Netflix, it's HBO Max, it's Hulu, Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I mean, we're seeing we're not seing many of the the names.
Yeah, Universal. Where's ABC?
Where's Fox? Yeah. Where's any of those? I mean, like I said, Universal has a movie, the Croods: A New Age, was nominated for Best Motion Picture for animated, but I mean that's really the only big.
I don't see any network TV on this list, and I barely see any cable networks. It is mostly streaming,
and I don't know how telling that is. Yeah. I really don't. I don't know if it is just a product of the situation we're in, but think about it though. These had to have been produced. These had to have been recorded.
Yeah.
So the exact same thing, our major networks would have done, these ones had to do as well. So they were able to get through it and do it. And they're being, nominated and being recognized for it.
No, I think this is telling, dude. I think streaming channels are the way to go when you have a property now. I feel like, Apple TV, Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, they're like the new networks. They're the new NBC, ABC, CBS. They're the new standards now.
Well, the networks are killing themselves because look at CBS. you have all these the exact same type of crime shows. You have your
Yeah.
CIS, you have your NCISs, you have all of those,
Right.
and then you go to Fox and you have like Fire Chicago and Police Chicago, and I mean it's the exact same show over and over and over again.
Exactly.
So or crime dramas. It's not like a new crime drama. It's a rinse and repeat from a show that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's boilerplate stuff, dude. They recycle the same plot lines with the same character types. They don't take a lot of chances because, they're in the business of making money. So what they do, they typically take a used concept and they produce it with the lowest amount of, that's why TV got a bad name for so long. Like, oh, it looks like a TV show. Like that used to be, an insult. Like, oh, this looks like it was made for TV because basically, it was like the lowest common denominator. You have a tiny budget to go ahead and try to make this schlock on TV just to fill up a time slot. Meanwhile, these giants, these streaming services, they're growing and growing. And just, I mean, you think of Netflix, all they do is throw money at stuff, just like lobbing left and right. And it started with like this prestige networks like HBO, millions of dollars per episode for Game of Thrones. And
Yeah.
these are movie quality series and events. Like when you throw on Ozark on Netflix, when you're throwing on Mandalorian, you are getting high quality 4K HDR experiences, man, and you get immersed. So it does not shock me in the least that this is what it's come down to.
And I really think HBO was in the forefront of this, even though they're catching a lot of flack now, with HBO Max and everything with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
They were ahead of this a while back when they were when it comes to the content. Because like you said, there was, Game of Thrones is one.
Yeah, even all the way back in the early, late 90s, early 2000s with stuff like The Sopranos, man. I mean,
that's what was trying to come to mind, but I couldn't get it to come to mind.
Sopranos and Dead Like Me and 6 Feet Under, just this stuff that got people talking. Like it got them hooked. It got people talking. That's what people were talking about at the water cooler the next day with stuff on HBO. And eventually other channels got into it, like AMC with Breaking Bad and some of the other successes that they've had. Walking Dead, of course.
Yeah.
It just goes to show, like, the more effort that you put into your television show with some good writing, good character development, great acting, the more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And to the point now where it's almost like we've merged here, where it's literally movie quality. Like Disney, if like Disney Plus showing the trailer we just saw this weekend, the trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier, that action and the way that's shot looks like it should be up on the big screen, man.
Yeah,
there's no difference.
That's absolutely movie quality, and that's where we are now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, and it's like, okay, I'm not missing anything. I mean, I'm not missing the budget. I'm not missing, everything that puts into. I know these characters, and it's not an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type show where
exactly.
It is clearly something that is produced that could, if they put this all together, if they mesh this together and edit it down, this 6-hour show into a 3-hour movie, it could easily be something that was on, the big screen.
Oh, for sure, no doubt.
But let's look at this here. So, best TV series. Now, this is one we've talked about. Ted Lasso was nominated.
Favorite here at Dadnarok.
Oh, I love it. I may even watch it for a third time. I'll put it
Friend of the show, Jason Sudeikis.
I love it. Have you heard of Emily in Paris by any chance?
I've seen it on Netflix. I've sort of, glanced at, Netflix will like to spotlight some of their shows, and I've heard people talk about it, but I've never watched an episode.
Janessa loves it.
Oh, okay.
And it just kind of dawned on me, though. It almost has a Devil Wears Prada type feel to it.
Oh, okay.
It's an American girl that goes over to the Paris.
Okay.
And she gets a job within the fashion industry. And then she has her boss, who is basically a shit boss to work for.
I see.
So, and then she does all things, happen, dudes, the whole deal. Janessa basically watched it when we were back here doing our thing.
Right.
But I mean, then there's a flight attendant, which I kind of want to watch, but
I saw previews for that. HBO Max. Isn't it Haley? What's her name? Haley Kuko or something from Big Bang?
From Big Bang, yeah. Then the next one I had never heard of, the Great on Hulu.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
And then I've heard of Schitt's Creek, but I've never watched it.
Christina and I are huge fans of Schitt's Creek. Big fans. We love this show.
Are you up Schitt's Creek?
I am up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Leave me there because I love it.
It's that good?
Oh, it's really good because it's one of the almost like a Ted Lasso where it's got a lot of heart to it. I mean, there's comedy, but the comedy's kind of subdued. It's not like wacky, zany sitcom kind of comedy, even though I guess technically it's classified as a sitcom. But it's got Dan Levy, he basically created the show. He is the real life son of Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy was the guy who played
the dad on
the American Pie movies, right? And he's been doing comedies, SCTV. He did stuff with John Candy, Rick Moranis for years and years and years.
You look up his IMDb and you can go for days.
Oh yeah, just like been working for years. And he's typically joined with Maureen O'Hara, who was the mom on Home Alone, and she was in that SCTV for a long time, and she has a crazy career too. She was like the mom in Beetlejuice too, and all kinds of things. But she's in the show, so she plays the mom. He plays the dad, and Dan Levy, his real life son, plays his son, and they have a daughter as well. So they're basically a 4-person rich family who loses all their riches. There's some sort of tax scandal or something, and they lose. It's a riches to rags story, basically, right? So it turns out the last asset that they own is this small town in the middle of nowhere. You never even get to learn where this rural small town is located, but it's called Schitt's Creek, and they own this town. They just bought it on a lark one day. They were just happened to be passing by, and they were so rich that they literally own the town. And then it's the place that it's the only place that they had left after they lost everything. So they come kind of crawling to this hometown to this town. They end up like living in a motel on the side of the road, and they start, and that's a great premise for like a movie. Like that sounds like it would be kind of like a funny premise for a movie. But the more that they live there and interact with the people there, the more they learn about the folks that are there and kind of stop judging them by the fact that they're rural people and so different from them. It's a very touching show. Dan Levy, he plays a gay character, which there's a gay marriage, and there's a lot of just accepting. You can imagine there was, some acceptance in a small town. So it touches on a lot of different like heartfelt aspects, but it never loses its comedy because it's just got comedy ingrained with it, with just the cast that's in it. So it's worth checking. I'm losing my voice here. It's definitely worth checking out. I think they had 6 full seasons, and the final one was this past year. So that may be why I got the nod from the Golden Globes.
Oh, wow. I never even heard of it until recently. So it's basically, it's on its final season then.
Yeah, it's done.
Where are you watching it at?
It's on Netflix, but originally it was on a channel here in the States called Pop TV, but it's created in Canada on CBC up there in Canada, which I guess is like their ABC.
Okay. I may have to check it out. I mean, we're so thin things to watch. I don't know. Disney Plus is kind of helping us with those things right now.
It's starting to ramp up the content, which is a good thing.
But I think we're pulling hard for old Mr. Ted Lasso. What do you think?
Yeah, we got to give Ted Lasso. I love Schitt's Creek. I think they had their day. They had their noms. I think Ted Lasso is definitely deserving.
I just find it funny that a show that I really enjoy, that we really enjoy, is up against my wife's show that she really enjoys. Then we have here, let's go ahead into Best Actor in a Motion Picture. So we have Riz Ahmad from The Sound of Metal.
Yeah.
Then we have the late, great Chadwick Boseman from Matt Rainey's Black Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Hopkins, the father. Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Gary, yeah, wow. Gray.
Gray old man. Is that Gary Oldman or Gray Old Man?
And then what's that? Tahar Rahim from the Mount. I'm not even going to bother with the name of that.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not seeing any of these. Sound of Metal, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, The Father, Mank, or The Mauritanian. I have no idea.
I think we're both on and this is terrible because this is why I don't like a lot of these actual award ceremonies or award shows, because everyone in this category knows they lost, but they lost.
Right.
I mean, Chadwick Boseman is going to be given this award because of the tragedy that took him.
Yeah, normally these award shows they kind of use the platform as a way to honor somebody who was recently passed, which you know it is what it is. It's a sad thing that we lost him, and he'd be getting an award posthumously. But I haven't seen any of these. It's not like Anthony Hopkins needs another award.
Yeah,
So
right.
if his family gets some sort of an honor or something and gets to be up on stage and accept an award for him, that would be a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, I can agree with that. Let's just move on here. Best TV series drama. Drama is what caught me on this one here, but and you'll know why here in a minute. Do you or Christina watch The Crown?
No, I know it's a phenomenon though. I know it's a really popular show.
This is another one Janessa binge watches. Like literally, it came out on a Friday.
Yeah.
She watched them all by Saturday evening. This is when
Wow.
she sits down and she even warned me. She's like, when this new one comes out, that's my TV. I don't want to be bothered. I'm watching the show. I'm like, okay.
That's good because then it gives you free reign to do the same thing when a show you like comes on.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, marriage. Let me see. So that's Netflix. Lovecraft Country. I have never seen that one.
Dude, this
Either.
is one I wanted to check out so bad on HBO Max, and I think it was just the timing of it all. But this is one that I will be watching here soon. I heard nothing but good things about it.
Okay, then we have the Mandalorian from Disney.
Never
Plus.
heard of it. What's
You
that?
know, this is the way.
But that's surprising. The Mandalorian.
I don't find that drama. I wouldn't find it under the drama thing.
No, but that's the weird thing about the Golden Globes is that they have a lot of things that are mismatched into things because I remember The Martian, the movie with Matt Damon.
Yeah,
That was nominated for Best Comedy that year. Yeah,
comedy.
exactly. It's because they have these weird breakups between comedy and drama, and that's just the way things folded out that particular year. It was very strange, but yeah, I agree. I mean, but The Mandalorian's kind of its own thing. It's not really a comedy either. It's not a drama. It's an action adventure. Swashbuckling.
Yeah,
It's Star Wars. Damn it.
yeah. I think it's telling that they nominated it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be something huge. So it's the first like real Star Wars movie or anything that's really been nominated for anything since. I couldn't tell you the last one was nominated. Were any of the new three new ones nominated for anything?
Not for anything outside of special effects or sound design or anything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's big to get more eyes back. People that are watching Lovecraft Country aren't watching Star Wars.
I don't know. I watch both, but yeah, I get your point. It's kind of strange to see that up there with all these other acclaimed shows like The Crown and we'll talk about it like Ozark and stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean it's fitting good. Hey, good for Mando.
yeah, exactly. No, I mean Ratchet's on there as well. I don't know. I haven't seen Ratchet. It's terrible. Half these shows I haven't seen, but we're going to talk about them.
Ozark's with Jason Bateman on Netflix, another one that has, I think maybe they're like 4 seasons in. And when I first saw it, I thought it was just like kind of a Breaking Bad ripoff about this guy who's kind of hiding out in this up north and stars Jason Bateman. But apparently it was well received enough they have like, and that's good for Netflix because Netflix will, have a show on for maybe 1 or 2 seasons, then give it the chop.
Yeah, I warned Janessa. I said, don't get connected to Emily in Paris. They give them about 3 seasons. If they do well, they don't renegotiate contracts. They just chop the show.
Yeah, they're like the new Fox, man. They don't play around.
But this one's here. This category is interesting. There are 3 of the 5 are Netflix shows. The Crown, Ozarks, and Ratchet are all Netflix. So that I take it for what it is. I watch some Netflix. I'm guilty for not turning Netflix on. That's probably one of the last ones I go to.
Yeah.
But they've got to be pushing out material. Like Janessa, like I said, watches The Crown. I'm the other one. We both talked about Lovecraft Country and Ozarks. You were able to speak about. So it just knows they're putting out more and more material that's worth watching rather than them just dumping money into stuff and they're not working out.
That's the crazy thing about Netflix. Like, there are only a handful of shows that are like destination shows for me. Like the new season of Stranger Things is coming. Like I'm there, dude. You know what I mean? When The Witcher comes back, I'm there. So
Yeah.
I have a few, where it's like, okay, well, that's just a show I'm definitely coming back to on Netflix. Otherwise, a lot of the time I'm just kind of scrolling through, but I know that's not. I'm kind of in the minority there. I know that Netflix is like the service for a ton of people out there. A lot of people, that's all they have and pay for. They don't have
Yeah.
cable. They don't even. They may borrow their mom's Hulu or something, but like Netflix is their one and only source of content. And it kind of speaks to the fact that I don't, I've never watched The Crown, I've never watched Ozark, but I am totally aware of what they are and have heard the buzz around them, even
Yeah.
though I've never watched an episode.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't really talk about it, but I got Zach a TV for his birthday, and I mounted it on the wall for him and everything. And I downloaded all the information onto his Roku TV,
Yeah.
and we put on the Netflix, and I signed into it. And on the bottom of it, it gave me an option just to click, and it was going to play something.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I saw that.
So I was like, that's pretty cool. I mean, and it's specific to the profile.
Right.
So if Zach's watching a bunch on his profile, it's going to pick shows that he's already used to watching.
I got sucked into that this past weekend, Saturday. I just happened to throw on Netflix as a lark, just trying to find something to watch. I hit the random play something under my profile name, and it brought up this documentary about the Night Stalker serial killer in Los Angeles in the 1980s. It was like 3-hour-long episodes, but I damned if I didn't watch all three of them back to back to back because it was so well done.
And that's always been my biggest thing. I'll surf through Netflix and I won't find anything.
Yeah.
If they give me something, or they give me, like, say, you can skip it, you can go to the next one. If they give me something and they're like, I'll give it a shot, rather than surfing through like channels on a cable box.
Right.
So I'm curious. I haven't checked to see if it's like that on the Apple TV, but I'm assuming it's got to be close. I mean, I don't think the app would be too much different.
No, I think it's typically pretty universal, but yeah, I mean, that's smart. They got me this weekend. Who knows? However, I'm sure that's worked more than once for all the people out there.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably do it, because I'm probably days from dropping my cable service.
Yeah.
And trying out another streaming service and everything. And then we have Netflix. So, I mean, my wife already goes to it all the time. I would not be shocked if she finds another show, but just by that process.
Yep.
But yeah, Netflix is on top of something. I personally have been proven wrong. I thought Netflix was gonna hurt. I thought they were gonna lose a little bit of grip on their streaming, in the streaming wars.
Yeah.
Dude, they doubled down, and they're coming back swinging.
They're still the king, baby.
No one's touched them. Disney's close, but Disney's not even, now that Disney's putting out consistent content, they may be throwing some haymakers at them, but they're not going anywhere.
No, and it's like that's the environment now. Like, we talked about a little bit about the Super Bowl. How many, spots for Paramount Plus have we seen? How CBS All Access is turning into Paramount Plus. And all I hear anytime a new streaming service is announced, people kind of roll their eyes like, oh God, like another one. You know what I mean? But they're not getting rid of their Netflix. Like nobody's canceling Netflix so they can get Paramount Plus.
Netflix is going nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Paramount Plus maybe that may be here for a while. The way they're setting it up, live sports on it, all this other stuff, all the back, it's going to come down to a point where which ones do you want? Where are your shows?
Right.
And what are you willing to pay for? And that's where you got to start doing a little bit of jungling. But let's move along here. Keep it moving. Keep on moving. Best performance by an actor in a TV series. I mean, our boy Jason Sudeikis is in this. We don't have to say anybody else.
Well, we could just list them, I guess.
I mean, Eugene Levy's there.
He is, yeah, for Schitt's Creek. I mentioned him earlier. We got Don Cheadle for a show called Black Monday.
Dude, I love Don Cheadle.
I do too, man. Ever since the Ocean's 11 movie, that's where I first saw him, and I've loved him ever since.
Any role he's in, I enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a movie with him and Adam Sandler, which is not a normal Adam Sandler movie. It's
Reign Over Me.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that movie because it's a completely different side of Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And him and Don Cheadle, it's a terribly sad movie.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But it is an amazing movie.
It had a song by Eddie Vedder, I think.
Yeah, Reign Over Me.
Yeah, from Pearl Jam. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I remember that movie.
I love the song. I love the movie. I love just seeing that character on how broken he is and how he comes around, and you don't realize how broken he is at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you see pieces, of the puzzle, and the movie. I don't think the movie got nowhere near as much credit as it should have gotten. It's Adam Sandler. They don't expect a movie like that out of him.
Yeah. Well,
And
you mean like? Oh, go ahead.
I say he doesn't do enough movies like that, I think, to maybe get the credit for kind of reaching outside of his box a little more.
No, it's like 1 out of every 5, like 1 out of every 10, he turns on his serious, dramatic Adam Sandler, and he gets critical acclaim for it.
Yeah.
So he should really do it more often.
I love Grown Ups 1 and 2. That's just my stuff.
Well, you know what? Grown Ups is going to make him some money, and then some of the other ones get him some awards. So why not? He's doing it right.
Yeah, Janessa's like, really? You're watching that again? I said, yeah, I am. And I'm halfway through it already.
Well, speaking of Don Cheadle, he's also Rhodey, War Machine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I learned today he's going to have a bit of a spot in the upcoming Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
Yes, he is. And then he has War Machine. So he's going to be in that. He's been quoted saying that all these shows and all the characters' interactions and everything, he is very excited for the direction everything's going in. So
I love it, dude. I mean, look, we're watching WandaVision, and I'm excited to follow the adventures of Darcy and Jimmy Woo. Like, who the heck cares about them? I didn't, but now I do. I love it.
So, I mean, I just love the connection. Now, they're doing it again. I'm going to be, in about 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pissed off again. Because I'm going to be wore out again.
Right.
With all this excitement, all this ramping up and Endgame and all that, it's got me back to the level where I was back when Hulk and Iron Man, where it started.
Yeah.
In about 8 years, I'm going to be just to the point where I really more, but I'm going to be so sucked in. I'm going to want to see where all these freaking 15, 30 shows they're going to have by that time.
I know, not to go on a huge MCU tirade here, but it's like they've already been going at it for 10 plus years. I can't, and the goal is to just keep on chugging along. It's so crazy that we've never had anything like this, where a franchise has started and continuously made movies and now TV shows in a connected universe like this. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've had before growing up were movies and sequels to those movies in indistinct franchises, your Star Wars, your Jurassic Parks, your Harry Potter films. Nothing like this where it's just all encompassing. They're creating a whole universe for these Marvel films and now the TV shows, and there's no sign of stopping whatsoever.
Yeah. So like I said, I can foresee me being angry in about 8 years. But I'm on the ride until the ride stops probably.
Just the fact that for sure that 8 years from now they're still to be cranking out Marvel content.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I really wonder when Jon Favreau is going to be like, okay, I want to test something else.
Right.
That's when the true test is what's going to happen. So when it gets handed off to somebody else, that's when is the house going to crumble?
Exactly. Yeah. Eventually, Kevin Feige is going to either want to move on or retire. But for right now, I'm just enjoying the product.
Yeah. I am too. So we got that, and then it says
Don Cheadle really threw us into a tailspin, didn't he?
Yeah, between Marvel and Reign Over Me.
Yeah. Well, just to round out the best performance by an actor in a TV series list, we've also got Nicholas Hoult. Who's a good actor. He's actually in the X-Men. He plays Beast in the newer X-Men movies. And Raimi Youssef, I believe, is the actor's name in a show called Raimi. I'm not aware of that one.
Yep, neither am I. So I'll say let's get out of that one before we wind up back in the Marvel Universe. What do you say?
Yeah. Best motion picture animated. What's on this list?
So we have The Croods, The New Age from Universal Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Onward, obviously Disney.
Sure.
Over the Moon. It's another Netflix.
Okay. Oh, I know that one. Yeah.
I'm not sure about it. Soul from Disney, and Wolfwalkers from Cartoon Salon. I don't know the last one at all.
Wolfwalkers, I do not know. No, I'm not sure.
So Disney has I think they got this one. Between
Onward and Soul, I think one of those two are going to get it. Definitely not the Crudes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's on there just because of the lack of content this year, I think. But Soul is probably going to get it. I think Soul probably had more of an impact. Onward was a bit of a victim of. It was early on in the pandemic
Yeah.
where that was the first one that they just released on streaming service, or where they just released to VOD early on, and it was gearing up towards the theatrical release that just didn't happen.
Did you
And
have to
by the
pay for
time,
that one?
what's that?
Was that the premiere? Like access? That we got that one free, didn't we?
Eventually, no, not at first. At first, you had to. It was one of those ones where you rented it for like $20, and you only had it for a couple days, and then a couple months after that, they put it on Disney Plus.
No, but I think you're thinking of Trolls World Tour where you had to rent it and then you got a credit for it. I think Onward, because I didn't pay for Onward. I know I didn't pay for Onward through Disney
Because
Plus.
because I paid for Onward. I bought it
Did
when it
you?
first came out. Yes. And you
Okay, I
probably
know.
watched my Onward.
No, I know I watched it. Okay, maybe I paid for it too. It's
Well,
been,
did you watch it when it first came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I had to have paid for it because I know I watched it and I loved it, and it was a gut punch. And at the end of the movie, like all Pixar movies are.
Yeah, I liked Onward, but I don't. I think Soul had. I think
more
Soul had more of an impact when it was released.
more of a cultural impact to
Yeah.
it from
Yeah.
the whole the whole movie itself. And a lot of people were talking about the barber scene, and
Yeah,
that's kind of
exactly.
where a lot of people kind of latched on, where they were happy, like they were getting like representation of like that environment that you don't see
Yeah,
very often in movies.
absolutely. And Soul took on Wonder Woman Christmas weekend, and Soul won.
Yeah, Soul one. Now I know they keep on going back and trying to paint it a better picture on how well Wonder Woman did, but there's only I can't say what I'm going to say because it's going to sound bad. So we'll keep moving.
Yeah. Wonder Woman not so wonderful. This Wonder Woman 1984 not so great.
So as a whole, dude, I mean, I actually have some rooting interest in these shows. I mean, a lot of these anymore, I don't have any rooting interest because I didn't watch a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, between like Ted Lasso and The Mandalorian, and once again Ted Lasso with Jason Sudeikis, and then both Pixar movies, I have I want to see some of these win.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just the amount. I didn't think we'd get this level of performances and this kind of list this year, because 2020 didn't seem like a huge year where a lot came out, but they were able to pull some gems out of the movies and TV this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking back, I'm actually impressed because I didn't remember or didn't think that we were going to get that type of content, and it came in like spurts.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it feels like we didn't get much, but looks like we got more than we thought.
Yep.
So let's talk about it. I mean, you kind of hinted towards it. Man, that Super Bowl happened yesterday.
It sure did.
And it was the most lackluster Super Bowl evening, commercials, trailers I can ever remember.
Yeah, I think I put on Facebook, this was definitely the Super Bowl for the 2020 season, because I didn't like any of the commercials. I didn't think any of the trailers were big, or there wasn't even a ton of them. And then just the game itself was boring.
When they comes out and says the best commercial of the evening was a State Farm commercial, there's issues.
Yeah. They were trying. I mean, some of them were trying. I saw John Cena at some point hawking that watermelon Mountain Dew, but none of them really stuck, man. None of them were very clever.
Did you hear about the really bad one?
No.
I actually was just kind of scrolling. It happened while we were doing our reaction to Winter Soldier.
Okay.
There was one for some type of like law firm or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they were laughing at sexual harassment.
What the heck?
Yeah, about whipping out like his opinion, and his opinion is bigger than hers, or she loves seeing his opinion. And oh, dude, you got to Google it.
It was for a law firm?
I think it was. Don't quote me on the law firm.
Okay.
But it was something, and it was. I watched it. I was like, oh man, that is
I'll have to check this out.
terrible.
I'll have to check it out.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, how did they get the okay to even run that commercial?
They paid a lot of money for some bad publicity.
That's exactly what it was. And I mean, we missed it, or I would have mentioned it immediately. But it happened during the halftime show of the weekend, which I heard people couldn't even hear them.
Yeah, I've heard good and bad. I checked social media after the fact, and some people were like, "Oh man, that was weird, but really great," and other people were like, "Oh, that was just weird."
Well, then I was like, I see. It's funny, like family members, like someone said that was the worst halftime show I've ever seen. And the funny thing was, she's like 60. I'm like, I'm like, well, I don't want to see Elton John. Come on, or Paul
Exactly.
McCartney.
I know I think people say that every year. I hear that every year about the halftime show. I think people just don't really care about the halftime show.
I think
They,
it's something they got to get rid of. Just get rid of it. I mean,
yeah,
because half the time I heard that the actual artists pay for that spot, so it's not something the Super NFL is just giving.
right.
So they're paying for the publicity of running that spot, and it's just not. Most people are getting up, leaving beer runs, getting food,
Yeah,
socializing at that point. Uh, I think doing what we did is new
yeah.
to the internet world. But I mean, I was very underwhelmed. I was like, I was purposely sitting in the seat and getting up during the game to wait for the commercials, and no commercial came.
And the Chiefs just did not look like themselves. I mean, Mahomes was like running backward every time the ball snapped. He was just running away. He couldn't. I mean, they were doing nothing for him. They were not protecting him. He was just running all over the
He
place.
was running for his life. I think they said he ran 400 yards
Oh my God! In the
in that
opposite
game.
direction.
Yeah,
And meaning I expected more out of Andy Reid. I know he had some personal tragedy. His son had a car accident earlier in the week. I don't know if that kind of took him out of the his typical headspace there. But I mean, you can't sleep on Tom Brady. You just can't do it. And
nope.
I've resisted saying GOAT with Tom Brady for a long time because I still think he has a lot of talent and protection around him. I was telling John, I in a comment on Facebook, John for the Basement Surge, I'm like, there's no way a 43-year-old quarterback should look that pretty and not have some like knee injury. You know what I mean? Like he's been too well protected for his entire
That's
career.
what's going to take. Honestly, he's going to play until he gets injured,
Yeah,
until he gets something big that hurts him. I mean, he's going to play till that point. I mean, his arm's still there. We haven't seen his arm go away.
right,
We've seen Breeze's arm, Roethlisberger's arm, Rivers' arm. We're seeing all these quarterbacks. I mean, even Manning, his arm went away.
right.
So you're seeing all these older quarterbacks' arms go away. And I mean, Brady is never athletic. He's never going to run around on you. But he's
Right.
like a Marino. He'll step up in the pocket. He'll make you miss, but he can still throw it 50, 60 yards down the field.
Yeah. And he's a draw, man. I mean, when he moved to Tampa Bay, how many of these other talented players were like, "Oh, I got to get a piece of that action. I want to go play with Brady."
Well, they were
And
joking that they're calling him like the executive of the year as well because they brought in Gronk, they brought in Fournette,
right,
all these
exactly.
players that weren't there.
Yeah. And let's not sleep on Bruce Arians either. The guy's a terrific coach.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, well, anyway, the guy's a terrific coach, and they just showed up, man. I could tell just looking at Kansas City, even before halftime, they looked like they were out of it.
I felt like they were going to the well too many times.
Yeah,
They went to the well to come back on many games. And this one here, they just weren't able to flip that switch, which everyone said they could do.
yeah.
And
And
that's it.
chalking, I mean, there were some penalties that were like questionable, but there was also a lot of penalties that were just like over some
We're
dumb stuff.
we're legit, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, the
just
pass
like
interference one there, you got rid of an interception. I was kind of like, yo, I don't know if that's kind of rough.
right. But the one where you're like talking smack after the play's done and you're like tapping the opposing player's helmet and stuff, like that's just you're in the Super Bowl, dude. Control
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. They just lost it. They weren't used to getting taken to the woodshed.
Yeah.
They were used to be the ones taking people to the woodshed.
Yep.
Actually, I think I seen a meme on like Facebook with Mahomes' hands on his head,
Yeah.
and it said, "Oh, the point when you realize you're not going to get any of the calls, when the guy on the other side of the field is when he's going to get them all."
Right. It's bad. It was just not fun to watch. I was hoping for more of a all and out, drag out fight between this new talent who's, Mahomes, a super talented kid, man, and he's young. He's got a huge career still ahead of him. And he's already done a ton.
But throw the brakes on the Hall of Famer right now, Stalk. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. But I was, looking forward to that, the new kid versus the living legend kind of deal. But it just was not that fun.
We got the legend and the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
But I think the Super Bowl sucked. Let's just say what it is. Everything around it, the whole evening. Real quick before we move on here, I kind of hinted that we got B-dubs for the Super Bowl. It's almost becoming a running joke in our house that I won't go pick it up, because if I pick it up, I'm probably going to get a restraining order.
Yeah.
Because it's gone that badly for us. And this is probably the last year we're doing beat-ups for the Super Bowl. We placed the order on Saturday. We went to pick it up, and it wasn't there. And actually, it wasn't even started yet.
Oh, boy.
But Janessa went up there and just kind of asked, I'm just checking on her order because she got there.
Right.
And the girl, I think, behind the cash register was like, I don't even want to deal with it. So she went to the back. Her manager came out, apparently, what Janessa was telling me. And before Janessa could say anything else, the dude just dropped $20 credit on her.
Oh, boy.
And it was only about 15 more minutes before the food was done. She's like, I didn't say really anything. I didn't even get a chance really to ask what was going on.
Right.
Because they weren't letting people wait in the store. They're making them wait out in the lobby.
Oh,
so it's kind of like in a strip mall.
Yeah.
So they're making like DoorDashers and everything. They've been making this DoorDashers do that for a while now.
Yeah.
So instead of even having any type of like any question, dude's like, here's $20, go away.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah. And I mean, that puts our credit at this at B-dubs for Super Bowl at $95.
Holy crap.
It was like, okay, we're done. Even we've tried being responsible and ordering it in advance and not ordering same day, then not being the ones that get angry because I ordered it at 3 and I said I wanted it at 5:30 and it's not ready yet type things.
Yeah, I hate stuff like that, man.
So
I mean, you're used to, when it's a tradition, you're used to what you're used to, but at the same time, and you're always like, well, maybe this time it won't be so bad, and then they never they always disappoint.
We even changed the B-dubs. We have 2 B-dubs within like about the same distance of driving, so we changed the one we were going to just to see if it fixes the problem. And they overbook their orders, and it just sucks. But yeah, we have lunch on them coming up sometime soon.
Great. Hopefully they get that order right.
Yeah, right. But you know what? I think it's a good time to jump in that car and let's just cruise right into the cheesy. What do you say? Let's get some laughing. Let's get some groaning. Let's get some crickets. Let's get something.
Let's cruise. I'll go first.
Go for it.
Where do vampires wait a second. Where do college-aged vampires like to shop?
No idea.
Forever 21.
No, shut up.
You laughed.
I did.
You laughed.
Yeah, it kind of made me giggle a little bit. I don't know why. Okay. So, how does a dog stop a movie?
How does a dog stop a movie? How?
She presses pause.
Okay. All right.
That was my goal. I wanted that reaction out of you. You actually got a laugh out of me. I don't think you were expecting.
Nope. No, because that was a bad joke.
It was a dad joke or something.
It was.
Tell Zach, be like, that's funny.
Well, there you go. Chris mentioned a little earlier, if you haven't checked it out already, on our YouTube page, we did a brand new video this week where Chris and I reviewed the new trailer that aired during the Super Bowl for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's going to be an exciting new show that we'll definitely review, have an after show for weekly after WandaVision is all wrapped up. Speaking of that, be sure to check out our WandaVision after show each and every Friday night at 10 p.m. live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And check out Dadnarok.com. You're going to find past episodes. You're going to find links to our TeePublic page with all our Dadnarok merchandise, mugs, hoodies, T-shirts, throw pillows, anything you want on there. And beyond that,
And so check out last week's episode. It was a crossover event between Dadnarok podcast and High Voltage. We had we had Trish and Kyle from the My Drunken Movie Theater come over and sit with us, talk, just have a good old time. That was a great episode. You can actually listen to it if you want to, if that's kind of your preferred method. Or we actually have the video where you can see our mugs and you can actually see them too. So it was a first for them. I think they handled themselves pretty well.
They did.
They were
it was a lot of fun last week. Yeah, talking to them. It was the first time we've had guests on Dadnarok. So and the first time, definitely not the last time.
Yeah, we plan on doing all the High Voltage shows with as many guests as we have. So we have one planned up for next month already. So when we get closer, we'll go ahead and get the details out. But I hope you guys enjoy that because it was a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to all these other these podcasters and build this community that we're a part of now.
For sure.
But I think it's a good time for us to go ahead and fuck. Well, I don't want to do that.
It's a good time for us to go ahead and fuck.
All
right.
Well, you know what, guys? Thanks for joining us this week. It's been a blast. And make sure you tune in next week so we can go ahead and cruise into the cheesy again together.
See ya. Trying to look on here.
Oh,
hold on. I got a Schitt's Creek thing I can say.
Okay.
Ooh, David. There we go.
Okay.
It's a Schitt's Creek thing. You didn't know what it is.
I had no freaking idea. Okay, yeah, I got to work on the ending. I'm gonna work on that. That's gonna be something. I'm gonna start writing stuff down.
Yeah,
and we're gonna come up with a tagline for the show, and it's gonna have something about cruising in the cheesy, cruise with us in the cheesy.
Yeah.
Join us every week as we cruise into the cheesy or something.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop the broadcast here.
Same cheesy time, same cheesy channel.